Hello hunters, I'm the SurvivalVis, and welcome to a little bit of a speculation video where we are going to be taking a look at what the light bowgun might be like in regards to Alatreon's upcoming release, or Alatreon, it has a lot of pronunciations. But anyway, Alatreon here, or however you want to pronounce it, has had a lot of different weapons, and they've been some very unique looks. Like, this is a little bit of artwork towards everything. The great sword, the long sword, I believe that's sword and shield, the hammer, lance, switch axe. Alatreon has had a lot of really unique weapons that just really stand out, the heavy bowgun especially. But one of the things is, when Iceborne's been very good in every of these new title update monsters, seems to be getting its own new weapons to fill out the entire weapon roster. So things like, I think the hunting horn, I don't know if Alatreon has had before. So that might be one. I think dual blades is one that they might not have had before, but any weapon that has not had a previous sort of presence or Alatreon weapon for it probably will be getting with this update. So I want to speculate about what the weapon I've mostly mained in Iceborne, which is the light bowgun, because there's actually a number of possibilities I see going for it. So we're going to kind of do what we did in our previous Build-A-Bowgun series, but this time I'm actually going to try to do 3 different bowguns for it. I'm going to do one of each of the bowgun style, but before we get to that, I'll talk first about the ammo. And just a little graphic to talk about it with, because why not? So what do I think is going to happen with the ammo? Again, 3 options. The first one, I'll probably work from one I'd like to see the most to the one I really kind of don't like or hopefully do not see. So the first one is that it's going to have rapid fire of all 4 elements. Well, technically there are 5, but the bowguns have a weird issue with the dragon element that they've carried through ever since it first was introduced as dragon ammo. But anyway, there are a few rare bowguns in Monster Hunter GU and some previous generations that would allow you to have all element rapid fire. On screen right now is actually the White Fatalis bowgun, otherwise known, I believe it's the Ancient bowgun and the Absolution bowgun as some of the common names. But it would give you flaming, water, thunder, and ice as rapid-fire shots. And though that sounds pretty powerful, you have to remember that each monster might only have 1 to 2 major elemental weaknesses. So it's more like it's an all-around tool than just this super-powered elemental shooter. So that's the first iteration I see of it. And the second one, or the second idea for it, is that it's only going to have dragon element rapid-fire, and it's going to be the only bowgun with light bowgun that has that in Iceborne. Now, Dragon is in a bit of a weird position for the gunner weapons. You can only carry 3 rounds of it in your entire inventory. I know you can craft more, but I think you can only craft maybe, I want to say 10 more or 20 more. I think Iceborne, maybe it's a little more lax, I'm not entirely sure, but you only have a very limited supply of ammo compared to everything else. And I don't even know if it honestly does that much more damage. I know its big thing is how it works as a shot. Because unlike all the other ammo types that you shoot, when you shoot a dragon shot, it's a very, very slow arc. It's almost like a mortar sort of going through, as you just see it slowly go through. But because of that speed, it procs a lot of little ticks, or like piercing damage as it ticks through. So it probably has the most procs per ammo shot, I think. Probably more than Pierce 3, but maybe not. Maybe matching. But it has that many procs in a small area, but the damage has never seemed super big, and because of how limited it is, it's felt like an element that's always been walled off for the light and heavy bowguns, so you don't even have access to that. I think that's one of the reasons why the light bowgun falls into this middle no man's land in a way, because you don't exactly have access to all the elements. Dragon is this cut-off one to you that you sort of get, but not really. So that was kind of the second idea I had for what the rapid fire might be for the bowgun. So, the first one is all element rapid fire, the second is dragon element rapid fire. The third one I don't want to see is something we're not expecting rapid fire. Kind of think of it like how the Brachydios light bowgun was, where normal 3 rapid fire was just out of the blue. I mean, I do love it, it's probably my favorite light bowgun out there because of that, but I just don't feel like that will fit Alatreon if it's not an elemental tied thing. Because Alatreon is the blazing black dragon. It is the elementally unstable black dragon that, honestly, if you remove the elements, you remove all of his identity. So I'm hoping that is going to be how that is going to exactly work. Now then, though, that was all the technical stuff. Let's get into the artsy-fartsy stuff, or the inartistic stuff that I am very, very poor at. But first, I said I was going to talk about the 3 major bowgun styles. This is true for Iceborne, though. Technically, there is a 4th through Monster Hunter. We'll get to that after we go through them. But what I mean by the bowgun styles is kind of their structure. Like, the most common one is probably the vertical style, where the bow limbs are on the top and the bottom of the weapon, and it's just kind of your classic look to it. It's your most basic beginner iron and stone, or iron and bone base that you see throughout all of Monster Hunter World and Iceborne, like even with the Banbro light bowgun there. It's just a pretty simple, iconic shape to it. The second one that may be is a horizontal style, which is more like a crossbow, or a repeater crossbow. We've seen that with the Golgolas Whale. I'm trying to remember. Even Nergigante's like bowgun is like that. And then Namiel's as well, where it's more like a crossbow with the limbs to the left and the right, so it has that shape to it. And the last style, which Iceborne does have, but I think it might be the least likely we'll see for an Alatreon weapon, is the firearm style, where it's basically just a gun. It's like a blunderbuss, a musket, a rifle, etc. We've seen a few of them in Iceborne, but the reason why I don't think this one is going to exactly be what we'll see is because looking at all the other Alatreon weapons, I don't feel like a firearm style really fits with how all the sweeping spikes and the horns work for Alatreon. Because he is very iconic for both his scales, but I think the horns more than anything else, because that is a very unique head shape that we don't really see in anything else. So we're going to go through, we're going to try to create 3 different little structures or ideas for these. The video is probably going to be a bit tight on, I shouldn't say tight exactly, more, it's probably not going to be as slow and go through as my other previous bowgun build videos have gone. I'll probably just do that so that way I can get recording, because I am, well, it's Monday and I don't have Tuesday's video ready yet, so that kind of tells you I am way behind in how I want it to be for the channel. So anyway, we're going to start things off with a vertical style. Now, my thinking on the vertical is probably going to be much like a lot of the weapons, where it's going to be swept back like this. But my thinking is, this might be the first bowgun where, let me zoom in, it's probably, let's see, yeah, that should be good amount. Instead of it going kind of back and sweeping like that direction in a way, I think it actually will be possibly sweeping forward. Kind of match how Alatreon's spikes are. And now I'm looking, it may actually even be a few. We'll just extend that, and we'll just do a few more. Because all of Alatreon's weapons all have that kind of feeling of sweeping forwardness to them. So I'm just going to do that quick, and let me pull that down. Now, let me see if I can do this. Let's copy, let's paste that as new layer in place. And if I can, I think I might have gotten it to work. Okay, let me try this. Yeah, I do admit I am very, very poor at... Okay, so I think that is what we wanted. Let me just try moving that proper. There we go. You know what? No. No, that's not quite right. I want the spikes a little more compact. Sort of think how it is like on the... I was thinking maybe like the longsword, but even looking at that, I feel like those are too spaced apart for what I was thinking. Let me just get rid of that. And also I should probably create this on a new layer, just that way it's a little easier to work with. Okay, new layer. Yeah, sure, slide that on up. Now this is where it does get tricky, because it's trying to figure out how do you incorporate that sweeping... Actually, maybe what I should have looked at was more of the hammer. Where it's not quite that, like, steep of a curve to it, but something maybe a little bit more, and I do want it sweeping forward like the horns almost. Nope. Well, actually, this might be a good thing to look at, too. Actually, right there, that might be the best little look there. This is the heavy bowgun, which first debuted with Alatreon in Monster Hunter 3 Tri. And the big thing that I'm probably going to look at here is these horns. That, I think, is a very good little thing to kind of figure out for the limbs that I'm trying to think of. Let me just try a couple of... I feel like maybe in a little bit more. There we go. I think something like that. And then a much smaller one, and just the two might be enough. Yeah, granted I do have to do some moving around and stuff, but... No, I was just trying to move the selection. There we go. Okay, much better. I want to... Okay. I know my Okay, you know what? Let's start from just a good square base. That should probably do. Just something, say, like that. There we go, square base. Easy enough to work with. Okay, so from there... I do apologize that it's probably more on me than you guys are probably have an issue with, just because of... Oh, no, see, I don't quite like that. I think I need a little bit more... Maybe like that. Yeah, I think something like that a little more. It does sort of have almost that... I want to say malicious or evil kind of vibe to it. Although I do want to try changing that bit, just because I don't like the... Okay, there we go. And then... Yeah, that's not exactly the best sort of look there, but my thinking was... is that it would come and attach right back, and those would basically be sort of the bow limbs. In fact, it might actually even be better on connected like that. As for the barrel, I don't think I'd have anything too fancy. I think I wouldn't mind actually almost like the tip here, where it does seem like a sweeping little barrel of sorts. Because that's probably my favorite part about the... Actually, how does it kind of sweep up? That's probably my favorite part about the Alatreon heavy bowgun is this barrel right here, because it makes it look like it's actually almost alive in a way. The energy going through it, and almost like the eye socket there, and even, you could almost say that's like a jaw to it. And if you were watching the trailer, you probably saw that we did get, or the dev journal, or dev diary, we did get to see the Alatreon heavy bowgun, but it was missing the barrel. What I thought I've heard or read is that we're actually going to get a base weapon we build, and then it has one upgrade after it. So more than likely, we'll probably get this on the fully upgraded heavy bowgun. But let me just try about doing what I'm aiming for here. It is a bit tricky, just trying to get... It's easier to replicate it. There we go. And for the stock, I probably should have gotten a nice picture of Alatreon. So you know what, I'm just going to quickly pick one up because I want to show off the tail. Alatreon's got a pretty specific tail that is pretty recognizable compared to a lot of monsters. It's nothing very, like, complex or... you know what, that's perfect. New image. There we go. Okay, so, as you can see from the tail, it's got those 3 large spikes on the very back of it. So I think that's what I want to kind of incorporate into the stock of it as well. This will probably go back like that. Maybe down into a bit of a spiked bottom almost. Just kind of where that sort of barb is. Oh, no, not that. And then just a few spikes out like that. Just to kind of mirror what Alatreon's tail looks like. It's something as another little ode to it. I think I just gotta change it, because they're actually more almost like vertical like that. So I think like that. So now I'm just going to look at doing a little bit of quick coloring. I do want a nice dark purple. Now, probably darken that up even further, if I'm honest. Oh, nope, that was wrong. Yeah, now the spikes will probably make a little bit more black, so we'll probably turn... Oh. Maybe something a little bit more like that. I'm just trying to think of how... Well, let me take a look. What would be better? Is it... No, it looks like you only kind of get that pinkish color for where its energy might be. So we'll probably take that, and we'll go for a nice pink. Actually, I don't even know what I was doing there, but we'll go for a bit of that, and just do... maybe a little bit like that onto that part there. Just need to bring that down to get that one little thing there. Now, is there anything I want to do to the main parts of the bowgun? I don't honestly think so, although it might not be bad to get something like a texture. So it could even be something where it's just almost like a skin to it. I'm just going to kind of do like a crosshatch pattern through it. And it is going to be very rough in that, but it's just kind of a little idea for what the vertical might look like. If that is the style we get. I honestly... You could go with any route for the styles for Alatreon. Everything would probably look and work pretty well. The firearm, I think as long as you incorporate the sweeping horns and scales, you'll probably be basically a home run with any of the weapons. Yeah, so something even simple like that, and I do see we'll just try to... Yeah, there we go. Again, we're not doing anything too fancy, it's basically just little rough cuts and makeups of things. I think we'll just do simple like that, though, for the stock. Well, that's my thinking of if it's a vertical style, is it might even have... do I have an airbrush? Just looking to see in case I might have. No, we don't need that big. But just something that kind of gives you that feel of almost Alatreon-esque that it always has to it. So that was just the idea for the vertical one, is something like that where it's actually the points and the tips are sort of like the Banburos, where they're more forward-facing on it. So I guess kind of like that in a way, or like that instead of sweeping back as a bow we're kind of used to. The horizontal, though, is one that it's probably going to be a bit tricky for me to draw. But my thinking was to incorporate kind of like the heavy bowgun, where the horns will... Actually, this will probably be from, like, think of this top-down view. So let me just draw a simple kind of little square again to start. Let me just get a new layer on this. Okay, so... on you. There we go. Nice straight across. Okay, so my thinking is the horns. You know, I'm going to extend that a little further because close enough. We're going to do some more. So the horns are going to actually almost come out like side bayonets in a way. Like this is going to be top down. So the horns will actually sweep out kind of in a shape like that. I just got to do it a little bit cleaner. Oh, no wonder. That's actually much larger than I wanted for that. Yeah, look at the barrel in the middle. Probably make... yeah, do something more like that. Okay, now it's going to be the point of working upside down might be a bit trickier for me, because, again, I'm not very artistic, as you guys can probably pick up. That's why my thumbnails aren't exactly the be-all and end-all, but something kind of like that, so that way it's almost like the horns are on the side and shooting out from them. but the bow limbs are actually going to be the wings, sort of like how the heavy bowgun has them here. So we just kind of want sweeping wings, sort of like Alatreon has. So we just want almost basically just like a nice classical dragon style wing. And I realized that I was probably the wrong person to try to do the wings, but something like that in a way. It's not too bad, actually. I wonder if I can even try this again. Copy, paste as new layer in place. Okay, so let's move that on. Oh. There we go. We'll move that down. Just try to match it up. Something like that. And now, the stock, again, I think would kind of work best tapered almost back into the tail, kind of like the heavy bowgun has, where it's just almost that tip of it. And we'll just do a quick couple of diamonds, because I do think it would, or even just one diamond, because I do think it would work with just a single little spike. Like, it's a little odd on the heavy bowgun with them, but I do feel like the tail is it's one of the most standout features to Alatreon. I think the head, the wings, and the tail, and probably the front chest plate almost that it has, are probably the most identifiable features to Alatreon. So we'll just do something like that. And this is probably the one I have most concrete idea of, just because, well, that's maybe a little too dark, so let's go back to the other purple. And we'll actually, let's see, let's grab that one, yeah, we'll just do that quick. Yeah, just clean up in a few spots there and there. It's the one that I feel is most easily to kind of draw out, because it's the one I can picture the easiest most. The light bowgun, I've been tossing a few ideas back and forth. I've thought of it being just like the wings, and instead it's the barrel kind of just like this, but I feel like that's a little too similar to the heavy bowgun. Generally, the weapons have been pretty unique in having their own identities. And oh, what? Oh, that's right. I need to black that up with that, don't I? Okay, let's see that and across it. That should encase it. There we go, and we'll do a lighter purple for the wings. There we are. Okay, and the color for they'll get just black for some kind of the points. That one there. That one there. And that was sort of my idea for the horizontal. It's something where it's almost like you're holding a miniature dragon in a way. No, that's not what I wanted. Oh, no, and I want to redo that one. So let me change the brush to what I was after. It's still not quite what I was looking for. I want to even smaller like that might be. I can't seem to get it now. Oh, maybe that's why it was. There we go. So kind of something like that, and then maybe even having a few things like just a little bit of energy between the horns for it. And I'll just do a little bit of almost just like power going through it, because the horns on all the weapons do seem to have that little bit of feature to them, where it does feel like there is energy flowing through and contained in the weapon, like the hammer, the longsword. You get these streaks of pink and purple, or pink and very light purple, that are just like this energy you feel coming and emanating from the weapon. So we incorporate that for the vertical. We tried our hand at the horizontal. The firearm is probably the one that I'm going to have the most trouble with trying to come up with something for. And the reason for that is just because of how it would have to be. It has to lack a lot of the more grandiose stuff in a way. Like, I'm almost thinking rifle style more than sort of the mini shotgun or the blunderbuss we sort of see with the Odogaron light bowguns. So if we're doing that, maybe what we'll do is we'll just get a simple long rectangle included here. Something simple like that to begin with. And it might be... maybe the horns would even sweep up along the length of it. Like, now, this is going to be the hardest one, I think, to try to sort of put in there, but... I'm trying... not quite like that. I'm trying to think... basically, imagine the hammer, but there's a barrel going through it like a gun. Like, this is the very top of. So... that means... no, see, that didn't quite come out right. Okay, there we go. That one sort of worked. I'll try one more. Sort of swept like that, and I think... I mean, I am defaulting to the same stock type, but I don't really see any other stocks working for Alatreon, just because, again, I feel like it's such a unique sort of look to it. Maybe the underside would try to figure something out too. Almost maybe like a pointed claw for the trigger. So maybe something like that. Now I'm just going to start filling some of it in. Nope, nope, that's right. I forgot to carry over some stuff. Again, if I can manage to kind of work up little contraptions like this, I know you guys can probably do a much, much better job than me. And I'm sure you guys might even have your own ideas about what the certain weapons might feel best as, or look best as. Actually, you know, I'm even going to just kind of expand that... oh. Let me bring that up again. I'm going to expand these down, so that way it almost looks like the horns are... almost like cradling the barrel of it. So something a little bit more like that. Yeah, let's try maybe like that. So that way... now, I do need to clean up a little bit here. I was trying to figure out a way that almost makes it look like it still keeps the sweeping up and over, but I think that'd probably have to do it there. I'd probably have a black barrel within. But we'd probably return again to this sort of style where... oh, maybe I got to make that a bit bigger. Oh, and also reduce the hardness of the brush. Where you sort of feel the energy is emanating and going through between the horns and that. And I do want to do a little something at the outside there. No, we'll probably just use this again. Okay, something nice and easy like that. The stock will give that darker purple, and same with the trigger. Yeah, I just gotta change. Oh, resets it every time. Okay, there we go. And we'll probably just do black for those. I should probably do a little bit something more there. Just trying to think of what would probably be. You know, maybe even just another. That didn't quite come out as I was hoping it would. Let's try with this a little prop. Yeah, let's try filling that in now and see. Yeah, maybe something a bit more like that, and then we'll brush again. Hardness we want to turn down, and bring that down again. Not quite to min. Something almost like that, and I'm just trying to think of... Alright, you know what? I don't think you can ever really go wrong when you talk about Alatreon if you're using... Just the horns more, so we'll probably just do... something like that to kind of curve it off with. And let me just kind of do a little bit like that. Oh. Actually, that kind of swept a little too hard for my liking. Let's get this proper. If we're going to do it right, let's do it truly right. Or as right as I can kind of show off. There we go. And lastly, a bit of that with some of that. Yeah, you know what? I probably messed up with the pink a little bit in the middle there, but that's sort of my idea for the firearm, is it almost is like the hammer... this look here, but there's a gun barrel basically nestled in between all of those. It's hard to say exactly what Alatreon's Bowgun will like, but from what we've seen from Iceborne's more unique designs, I'm very hopeful to see what it'll be like. So these are just 3 little mock-ups I came up with as something maybe we'll see, maybe we won't. It's kind of hard to say, but at least it gives me a little bit of something to speculate and a little bit of something for you guys to watch. So I thank you guys very much for joining me on this episode of Build-A-Bowgun. If you do like the content I do, be sure to leave a like or comment down below, and if you're as excited for Alatreon as I am, be sure to let me know in the comments as well. This is going to be a very interesting Thursday when we get a chance to properly try hunting him. I really don't know what he's going to be like, but it's going to be interesting with everything they've talked about with how he's going to work mechanics-wise. But we're going to be very interested to see what light bowgun he brings, and hopefully it'll be something that'll just really fit the blazing black dragon itself. Until I see you all in the next episode, though, survivors and hunters alike, please remember to take care and stay alive.